Welcome to episode 2 of Canvas Training. In this episode, we're going to be talking about content creation. The first thing we want everyone to keep in mind is that even though we are moving to Canvas, that does not mean we are expecting all students to have a screen in front of them all day, every day. We want to think back to before the whole COVID situation and what we built a foundation of with blended learning. So, the purpose behind our creation of content in Canvas is to design blended learning experiences to support mastery of content. So, again, this would be online and offline. We've got a pretty good handle on the offline. Now we're taking a look at how to put it online and when does that best fit. So keep that in mind as we move through all of these Canvas trainings. The first thing that we want to address is one of the biggest questions that we get as we talk about implementing Canvas is why do we need Powerschool if we have Canvas? And the answer to that is they play two different roles in what we do here at Concord. Powerschool is our student information, or SIS. This houses all of our historical data. This is the official grade reporting to the state. This holds demographics, all that kind of stuff that Canvas does not do. Canvas is our LMS, or our learning management system. This is the tool that we deliver digital content to our students, and then we receive back their work on that. Canvas does not house student data or historical grades or any of that kind of stuff. Yes, Canvas does have a built-in gradebook, and it does talk to our PowerSchool gradebook, but we still have to use the PowerSchool gradebook as the official gradebook for state reporting. So they play two different roles, but we need them both. You're probably thinking, why don't we find one tool that does both? And we did that. It was Unified Classroom, and we all know how that went. In all reality, there really aren't many tools that do both. There's usually each school district usually has one of each, an SIS and an LMS. And Canvas and PowerSchool are probably one of the most common combinations of those two. So that's why we have to keep both of them.
So the next question you might be asking is, what is an LMS? You'll hear us talk about this quite a bit. An LMS is a learning management system, and it is used to create and manage your lessons, your quizzes, and your course, and all your materials in your course. And when I say course, I mean your class. So a learning management system also helps you to deliver all of that content to your students, but it should be more than that. It should do more than just deliver content, but it should also help you to create a learning experience for your students. So examples of an LMS, or a learning management system, would be Canvas. Another example would be Unified Classroom. Another example that you might have heard of is Schoology, and another example would be Google Classroom. Google Classroom does a really great job of delivering content to students, but it doesn't necessarily provide us with the whole learning experience that Canvas will. So you might also be asking, what about Seesaw? Seesaw is a digital learning portfolio that we will consider Seesaw just another one of our tools in our toolbox that we use alongside of Canvas. So let's take a look at some examples of what a Canvas course looks like. We want to give you a broad overview of what it looks like from the beginning to the end and what a student will experience when they're inside a Canvas course.
Here's the first example we'll be showing you. This is just an example course that I've set up that I might use in my third grade class. You can see here that I have my home page, which would be the first thing that my students see. I've got a nice banner here with a camping theme going on. As you scroll down, you can see that I've got these images which double as buttons for my students to access the content. I also have buttons for previous lessons, parent resources. I can add any and all buttons that I want. So if I want to put a button for say something like, when you finish your work, click here for choice boards. I can totally do that. So I'm going to take you through this really quickly, just to kind of give you a bird's eye view of what I might have in my course. So like I said, this is my homepage. If it's Monday, my students might click on the Monday button. This will push them to another page where I have set up different objectives and perhaps to-do lists. This would be a good example of blended because maybe the things I put on my to-do list right here are both online and offline things that the students need to complete, but it's all compiled in one place for them. So let's take a look at math. They would click on math, and it would bring them here to this page where I've put some content for them to work through. In all honesty, this is content that I actually pulled right off of a HyperDoc slide deck that I've used with my third grade class before. I might use this in small group or in station rotation, whereas I would have already done my mini lesson. So this is just kind of a follow-up or a refresher. This is on perimeter. So these two YouTube videos that I might assign my students to view, this is not where they're learning for the first time perimeter. It's just presented in another way for them to do during independent practice. Then I've embedded a flip grid on this page, and it lives right on the page for students to answer. This would be an example of what you could put on a page within Canvas. As I move through down here, I also have a next button that I could send them on to other pages, or maybe this is all I want them to do on the page in Canvas for now. If they need to return home, I've put a little icon here they can click to go home. If I move on to this next page, Mrs. Weldy will talk about her example.
So this is an example that I created that has several different buttons at the bottom. As you can see, a banner across the top and a welcome message. All of these buttons lead you to different pages. So I like to think of this as sort of a website that I've created for my kids, but it's got more to it than just that. So if I click on classwork, this is going to take me to another page that gives the days of the week, and each day would give another link to that day's lesson. So if I click on Monday, then my students are taken to the classwork for that day. And this was something that I just pulled from an old lesson that I did with my second graders. So they would interact with this slide deck. And actually, this is something I would probably do with them whole group. And I might even give them the choice to follow along on their Chromebook or just follow along on the smartboard with me. And then they have the option to go on to the next activity below the little house, or they can go home. And if they go on to the next activity, then they have the reading passage. So they can follow along. There's a video that reads the story to them, and the text is below the video. So they can follow along while they listen to it. So this is just an example of a way that I might use this. In my classroom, we would do the first part all together as a class, and then the second part they would do on their own, and then they have a follow-up activity after that. But the very first page that you are looking at, if we go back home, is their homepage. So this would be the page that all students see for the very first, as soon as they log into my Canvas course. So this is where they would get all of their information. The next example is a really simple example for maybe a lower elementary classroom, kindergarten or first grade, and they only have two options here. Now, if you notice along the left-hand side of the screen, there's all those words there. And if I don't want my students to see that, I can choose what they see and what they don't see. All those little eyeballs with lines through them are the words that the students will not see. So if I look at this from a student view, then all of those things disappear and my students only see the word home. So it's really nice because you can really make this look as simple as you want for your students or as complicated as you want. So in this situation, students would only see info for parents or their classwork. If I want to add more buttons as the year goes on, then I can do that. I can add more buttons as I feel that they're ready for it. We've just shown you lots of different ways that you can create your course or create your homepage. And it can be a little bit overwhelming because there's so many different ways to do it, and no way is really wrong. It's just dependent on what's best for your class. One suggestion that we would really encourage you to do is to draw out your homepage. So start there because that's the first thing your students will see, and draw out what you think would be the best situation for your students. Do you want to start out with a homepage that just has two buttons that's very simple and very easy to navigate? Or do you want to start out with a homepage that has things like contact me and previous lessons and things like that? So these are some examples of how you could draw out what you want your homepage to look like. Once you have your homepage kind of drawn out, then you can start building it. And that's what we're going to kind of talk about a little bit today and show you how to start doing that.
So the first thing we need to do is get logged in. If you have this slide deck that we've emailed you, you can go ahead and click this blue concord.instructure.com. If you're not looking at the slide deck, just open up a new tab and type in concord.instructure.com. Go ahead and bookmark it because this is how you're going to get back to it. This is also how your students are going to get to it too. So whenever you're ready to share this with students, it's the exact same link. Go ahead and choose the login with Google option. Again, you and your students will both log in with Google. If you need a moment, go ahead and pause the video here and enter that in there. Once you're in, you will come to a page that looks similar to this. It's called your dashboard. Yours will look different. You won't have any published courses. You will just have unpublished. You will also notice that down here under unpublished will be all of your current Powerschool courses with rosters. So you won't have to worry about creating the courses for your students. When you go to use it, they will already be linked to the rosters from Powerschool. Now we're going to talk about creating a new course.
Along the right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see a button that says Start a New Course. You're going to click on that, and you're going to give your course a name. Maybe it will be first grade course. Maybe it'll be Weldy Master Course. Whatever you want to name it, you're going to give it a name, and then you're going to click on Create Course. The reason we have you do it this way is because each year at the end of the school year, your Powerschool courses get archived. And by creating a master course, you can create all of your content and put all of your lessons in this master course. And then that content stays there and it doesn't get archived. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create a page. And we're going to talk about what a page is. But first, we want you to go on to the left-hand side of your screen where it says Pages and click on that. Now you're going to go up to the right-hand top of your screen and click on Plus Page. Right now, we're on a new page, and we're going to jump back to our slideshow and talk about what a page is. So a page is something that you're going to see this look quite a bit, but this particular page is where you're going to put your content or anything that you really want to put on in a course, you're going to put on a page. So pages can include text, video, links to other files, and other course content. I like to think of a page as a combination between a Google Doc and sort of a website. So anything that you want to embed or anything that you want to put on your page, you really can. You can use a page for a choice board for your homepage. You can put videos on a homepage, or you can make a resource page. You really can do anything. Now, it's different than an assignment. It looks very similar to an assignment, but it is different. But you're going to think about all the things that you want your students to interact with that's not an assignment will go on a page.
So on this page, we're just going to go ahead and get started with a home page. So go ahead and title yours home page. And then we're going to take a look down here. This is where Kelly mentioned how it's kind of like a Google Doc. You're going to notice this toolbar up here and then your blank space down here where you will create. That area is called the Rich Content Editor. You're going to see that same look all over the place in Canvas. You're going to see it on pages. You're going to see it on assignments, a little bit in quizzes, if you go ahead and use the announcements, discussion, and syllabus feature too. So we're going to talk you through some of the pieces of what you see on the content editor. Up at the top, now number 2, you're going to see a lot of your menu for formatting. This will be very similar to the things that you've got in like Google Docs. Number 3 here is a box, again, text and paragraph formatting. So you have your bold, italicize, underline, your font color, all of those kind of similar things. Number 4 is your inserting media. So your little chain link thing here is just the same as a chain link when you link things in Google Docs. You can select text or images to attach links to, so the kids click on them to send them somewhere else. This little mountain symbol is kind of the universal symbol for images. So you can upload images from your device or from the course images from right there. The music looking icon here is media. So videos that you have to upload, you have files to upload from your device. Yours might look a little different right here. You'll have a Google Drive where you can integrate all your Google stuff. And then instead of the second one here, you'll have YouTube. Whereas one of the ways, there are a couple different ways to insert YouTube, but you'll see a YouTube icon right here.
This number 5 is where you can add external integrations. So YouTube is also here. And right now, I think it's just YouTube. But if we encounter any other integrations that we can put in here, we will do that. 6 is just paragraph formatting. And then this section right here, if you click on these 3 dots, it'll take you down to some more options. And these are really useful for when you, in particular, number 8, if you're putting images into this big area, like let's say you want to put buttons in and you want to do like a row of 3 by 3 buttons, you will want to put a table in. So number 8 is putting in a table, and you would want to put each image inside of a box in that table. It will line them up better and will make them so they aren't just scattered around the page. Number 9 is for inserting formulas, and number 10 is where you're going to put in an embed code. So if you want to embed, let's say, Flipgrid or something like that, you can get the embed code and you can paste that right in there, and then it will make it so that the students can actually see the Flipgrid rather than just the link to it. And then so down at the bottom, you've got some other options here. So number 11 will give you some keyboard shortcuts that will be useful to you. 12 is an accessibility checker. That means that when you're all finished creating a page, you can click on the accessibility checker and it will tell you some parts that you maybe need to pay attention to. For example, if you have a screen reader, if you use a screen reader at all, and it's reading, say, parts of your homepage, and you have images in there, instead of reading image 001, if you click on the accessibility checker, it will highlight that image 001 and you can change the text for that. So you could maybe change it to say, image of a dog laying in the snow. And then the screen reader would read what the actual image is instead of just image 001. 13 is just a word count. 14 is where if you need to access the HTML code for a certain page, this is where you would access that. And 15 plus the dots next to it, those 2 things right there, allow you to change the size of this page of number 1. So you can either just make it full screen or you can use the dots to drag it down so that it's a little bit bigger. Before you start building your homepage, a couple things to think about is that this is going to be the first page your students see. So you want to include some general course information. You also want to consider adding a personal welcome message or a video for your students, some information maybe about yourself. For younger students, you really want to consider using images as buttons, maybe some text underneath it or on top of the image. You also want to use a table when you're adding images. So you want to put those images inside of each box of your table. You could consider using a theme. So you did see in one of the examples there was a camping theme. You could use a theme. You don't have to, but it's an option. Just try to keep it simple and make it easy for your students to navigate. Maybe test it out on some kids that you have in class now or kids of your own that you have at home to see how easy it is for them to navigate. And be sure to set your homepage as your front page.
Let's take a look at some of the basics you might use of a homepage. So, just as a start, I might center a line and welcome to my class here. Like we said, like maybe a welcome message or a video. Just like in a Google Doc, I can change the paragraph size or the text size here. I can bold it and underline if I want to, and I can make a banner for the top, and we'll talk about that too. I want to show you really quickly. First of all, I'm a big fan of using this little dot thing here to kind of expand it. I want to talk about inserting the images with the table like we talked about. So if I come up to this little table icon, or I can go to the table button right here, and I put in the cells that I want. So I'm just going to throw 3 in there really fast. I'm going to then go to my image upload, and you're going to have some options here. You can upload images that you use in your course, or if you don't use it yet, then I have this upload option. I can upload from my computer, just like in any other device. This might look different depending on your device that you're on, your Chromebook or your ThinkPad. So I'm just going to find one that I've got. So here's like a Seesaw logo. I'll just stick that in there as an example and submit. It'll put it in there. I can click on it. I can do image options over here, and I can customize the size, or I can pick from preset small, medium, or large. The other thing I can do is just click on it and just like in Google Docs, use my little corners here to kind of shrink it down. You can also, if I look at the next one and go to my image here and upload an image, there's an option for Unsplash right here. These are free images through that Canvas is partnered with Unsplash, and I can search, anything right here. I search dog, and oh, this guy looks like a good guy, so we'll use his picture. I can do there's a lot of stock images here, and the same thing. I can stretch them down there. You might be wondering too about the headers. So we've got some other options here, some helpful tips here. You might look at sample buttons and templates right there, or Canva. If you haven't used Canva yet, Canva is an awesome website that you can use to create things. Canva's got a free version, and this is a little helpful video right here, this quick how-to on how to use this. But if I just come to canva.com, if you're looking for a header, if you just type in Google Classroom header, even though we're not using Google Classroom, the size still helps. And there are all types of editable ones here. You can even start blank if you don't see what you like. And you can kind of create that way and then kind of go through the same process back on your page to upload that. If I want out of this full screen view here, I can just click escape. So we encourage you to start kind of looking at creating your homepage. You can't break it, so just start clicking around. On our digital learning website, we have a new tab for Canvas resources. And of course, we're always adding to this. So you can kind of come and look through these to see what you need. Back on the slide deck too, we have Canvas guides for anything that we haven't quite gotten to, but if you want to move ahead, you can totally look at that as well.
We also have a resource slide here for Canvas for Littles. And you'll notice the very first name up here is someone named Susie Lally, and she has tons of YouTube videos and resources specifically geared towards students in grades K through 2. So please check her out. She also has a lot of information on Seesaw and Canvas together. So please check out some of these resources if you teach any of those grades and you're wanting to know how you can use Canvas in your primary classroom. Also, we have created this little graphic here comparing Canvas and Google Classroom. And we're not going to go through and read this to you, but you can check it out as you wish or as you have time. Off to the right, there's some important highlights as far as Canvas goes and what you will be finding once we start getting into Canvas.
One thing that I think we might have missed back on this login page is this image right here. If you click on it, it links to a Concord, to a course that we've got built for you in Canvas. When you click on it, you'll get the option to enroll as a student. If I head back to my dashboard, I just want to show you it really quickly. It's got a lot of, if you're looking to move faster than what we go in our sessions, or you want to learn a little bit more on some things that we touched on, if you go into this and find this first page right here that says Canvas reference page, bookmark it. Right here, you can find a ton more information. And again, you don't have to do this. If this is all overwhelming, then don't worry about it. But if you want to learn a little bit more and maybe move a little faster than what we're going in our sessions, feel free to check this out. It's got a lot of stuff in it. So feel free to check that. Again, that was back on the login slide here, and that'll have the login, the enroll for that. So with that, that's kind of the end of episode 2 here. We'll be coming around again to each of the buildings to do episode 3 and what that comes with. If you've got any questions in the meantime or wondering anything, feel free to reach out to Kelly or I, and we'd be more than happy to help you with that.
Have a great day.